Well, I'm nearly as old as Joe Biden, and I've been a lawyer for over 50 years. In the last 20 years, I've worked as a Crown Court judge dealing with the more serious criminal cases, but I've also specialised when I was younger in European law and professional negligence law. Well, I was first asked to do the review independently of government in 2019, and because of COVID it took slightly longer, but a report was produced in December 2020, and effectively it found that what the hate crime laws that we have, which are very, very limited, are not working for victims and are in serious need of urgent review. As far as the recommendations of the review are concerned, the most important one was to create not new offences, but what's called aggravators on existing offences. So, for example, if you had Section 18 wounding with intent, you would add to that the hate element, either an intention or demonstrable hostility or contempt towards the victim. So the judge and jury would consider that offence. If they find beyond reasonable doubt that hate was involved, then that's more serious, requiring more serious penalty. And if they found that there was a crime, but they weren't satisfied about the hate element, they would convict of the lesser offence. There are many other recommendations. I'm particularly interested in restorative justice, which I think is what many victims want more than people to be punished, except in the more serious cases. And I think that's a very urgent part of the reforms. I also considered what groups of victims should be protected by the law, all existing groups, in my view, together with gender and age. Well, I don't know if I had a passion to begin with. I was asked to do a piece of work by the Department of Justice, but as I got into the process and met many victims, we had public consultations all over Northern Ireland. It was actually quite heartbreaking to hear their stories and to realise that they were suffering and that the law, which is there to protect them, wasn't protecting them. And over time, it did become a passion, which I think is fairly obvious from the tone of my final report. The future of Northern Ireland, well, apart from hate crime, I hope that we can have a government that doesn't get pulled down every couple of years. That would be a pretty important aspect. I also think it's vitally important that we have shared education. I remember Senator Mitchell, when he came here to broker the Good Friday Agreement, was astonished that in a divided society we still had Catholic kids going to one school and so-called Protestant kids going to different schools. Coming from the background of civil rights in America, he could not understand that. I have always never understood that, and I think that is probably the single most important thing for the future.